Hi, my name is Selena. Do you know the feeling of having an annoying sister in your life who is just there to ruin everything for you? Well, mine is a psycho jealous sister. She used my condition against me, but I got rid of her eventually. You see, I was born to super rich parents who owned more than half the city, and after I was born, they just went crazy with happiness. On my first tooth party, my dad organized a water park party for all the kids, but when Mom brought me outside, I started yelling and my skin turned super red, like blood. Luckily, there was a doctor in the crowd and he came running to help. I was diagnosed with extreme photosensitivity that would only increase as I aged. Basically, I could never step out in the sun without getting burned. After that, my parents always kept me indoors during the day, and all the windows were covered with black curtains. Once when I was 4, I cried and said, "I want to go to school and have friends." "Oh, honey, you can't, but we'll bring them both to you. We'll hire private teachers for you, and we'll get you a pet." They got me a really cute hamster, and he was kind of my best friend. All was good until my little sister was born. Her name was Rita, and she was pure evil. I discovered she was jealous of me once she turned 3. She knew about my condition, but she was still angry that my parents paid more attention to me. On her 3rd birthday, she got me a piece of cake with a candle on it and said, "Now this candle will burn you." "No, honey, I'm only allergic to the sun, not candles." "Oh, so it won't hurt you? Well then, okay." And with that, she threw the candle on my bed, and the blanket instantly caught fire. I started yelling for my parents, and I almost got hurt getting out of the room. Once, when I was 8, Rita threw a tantrum that she wanted to be homeschooled like me, but of course, my parents refused. What made things worse was what happened on my 10th birthday when my parents invited everyone to a super fancy restaurant at night. One sophisticated lady saw me and said to Mom, "Oh, your daughter is very pretty, like too pretty. But the other one, oh, she's not pretty, like at all. Oh, yes, the youngest one is just ugly. I wonder if she'll ever get married." Just then, Rita stood up and flung juice straight at the women's faces. Then she turned to me. "You just wait and watch, Selena. I'm gonna make you wish you were the ugliest girl on the planet. You'll be praying to God to make you ugly." That night, I was asleep when I heard some noises. I opened my eyes to see Rita holding a big poster of her drawings. Things like her hanging someone up, crucifying others, and taking someone's eye out. "Do you see this eye?"
Mesmerized, the boiling suddenly stopped. The egg had turned golden and shiny. The formula worked. I'd succeeded in transforming an egg into pure gold. Now there was one more thing I had to do. I'm sure you can guess what it is. I wanted to teach my toxic parents a lesson. I went to their house. Neither of them was home because they were both working. I took all the magnets from the fridge and put them in a bag. Then I came back to my new home. I was so excited. I went down to the lab. I dipped each magnet into the liquid and turned them all into gold. I picked up the Las Vegas magnet and held it high. It was so striking and shiny. I couldn't help but laugh. I really wanted my parents to see these right away. I went to the kitchen and stuck the gold magnets onto the fridge. Then I took some pictures, created a group chat with my parents' numbers. I sent the photos of the magnets to the group. "Are these our magnets? They look fantastic," my mom wrote first. Soon after, my dad wrote, "Bowen, did you turn our magnets into gold? So the formula worked? What an incredible success! I'm proud of you." I wasn't going to reply, but they kept texting me. My dad wrote, "We really need to catch up with you, son. Shall we go on a family trip together? We have to celebrate your success." My mom wrote, "Honey, where are you now? Send us your location. We'll come to you. We missed you so much." At that point, I'd had enough. I didn't expect my parents to sink so low for money. It also made me furious to think that they could fool me with a few nice words. I went down to my lab. My parents still kept texting me. I was holding my phone, but wasn't reading any of their texts. I slowly lowered my phone into the liquid. Soon after, it turned into gold. They couldn't text me anymore. That was the last time I heard from them.
When I was in the 1st grade, and after I was done doing the task Miss Janice gave us, I started reading a book. The teacher looked at me through her thick glasses. "What are you reading?" "Show me." I slowly pulled out the book from my lap. You're reading Shakespeare's sonnets? I'm sorry, miss. When did you learn to read this? When I was 4. Shakespeare is my favorite poet, and Agatha Christie is my favorite author. Miss Janet looked really surprised. She and I had so much in common, and we got closer over time. One day she said, "Why don't I walk you home today, and I can have a little chat with your parents?" I led Miss Janice to my house, and to my horror, we walked straight into one of Mom and Dad's screaming matches. How many times do I have to tell you the same thing? It's a ketchup stain. Stop lying to me. I know that was lipstick. Mom, Dad, we have a visitor. The two stopped short and turned to look at us. Hi. It's yours, babe, but one day it's gonna be mine. I stood up and pushed her away and locked the door behind her. She was a total psycho. Over the coming years, Rita just wouldn't understand that I got special treatment because of my condition. I tried to reason with her, so I thought maybe throwing a party where we could both invite our friends would help us get closer. What a stupid decision that was. I was 13 back then and invited the only 2 friends I had, Mark and Emily, while Rita invited half the school. Suddenly, during the party, Rita stood in front of everyone holding up a drawing I'd made. It was the 3 of us, me, Mark, and Emily. Listen here, everyone. So our princess Selena can draw, but she also has a little secret. Let me read it for you. I'm so in love with Mark, but I also love Emily. I will soon ask them both out and kiss them both at the same time. I will kidnap Emily if she rejects me. We will be the happiest lovers triangle. Everyone went silent, and Mark and Emily turned red. I couldn't believe my sister would lie like that. No, you liar. I didn't write that. You just came up with it. Why are you so evil? Why are you so perfect? I'm not, Rita. I wish I was normal just like you. Oh, like me? You wish. I would never have a boyfriend and a girlfriend at the same time. That's just shameless. Ew. You do that to the only 2 people who like you? That's just dumb and gross. Just stop it. Just then, Mike took Emily's hand and left. I was so shocked and embarrassed that I didn't even stop them. I just went to my room and locked the door, and the party continued like nothing had happened. After that day, I knew I had to teach Rita a lesson, and I knew that the best way to tease her was to live my life to the fullest. The very next day, I invited Mark over. When he came to my room, I made sure to leave the door open so Rita could hear everything. Mark, I'm really sorry about last night. You know that my sister is... Listen, Selena, I don't believe a word your psycho sister says, but I was just too embarrassed to say, so I left. I put my finger on his mouth and pulled him closer to kiss him. Mwah! Will you be my boyfriend, Mark? He said yes, and we hugged. Then I heard Rita's room door close very hard. In your face, witch. Over the next 2 years, Rita was always making it obvious how jealous she was of me for having a boyfriend. She even tried to break into my room several times. Once she used a knife to open it, but luckily I was ready. I attacked her with pepper spray and ran to my parents. Once she brought home a boy who was 4 years older than her. Dad totally lost it and kicked him out. My parents were getting so tired of her craziness. But the last straw was when she called the police at midnight once. To my horror, she slipped her t-shirt off her shoulder to show scratches on her skin, and she pointed accusingly at Mark. That boy, he's dangerous. He attacked me. I barely managed to escape. What? My parents told the cops that she was making it all up, and Mark would never do such a thing. Gosh, if you're so jealous, just get yourself a boyfriend, you ugly psycho bimbo. I expected her to say something harsh, but instead she started crying and fell on her knees. She looked up pleadingly at the cops. See how my family treats me. Just take me away from them. Please, help me. Please save me. What an actress. Next morning, my parents took Rita to a psychologist. Turned out my sister had some issues and needed therapy every few days. But she didn't take that so well. After a few days, when I got back from my date with Mark, I found Rita had prepared meat sandwiches for me. What did she want? To poison me? I said no and went to my room. I wanted to feed my little hamster, but I didn't find him there. I started looking everywhere. Then it hit me. Oh my God! I ran back to her. Where is my hamster? I don't know. What did you do to my hamster? I don't know. Mom, Dad, Rita ate my hamster. And then I passed out. When I woke up, my parents told me that they had talked to Rita's doctor and she might be admitted to a psychiatric ward. I wasn't really happy to hear that, but I knew it was for everyone's safety. A month later, Rita was gone and transferred to that hospital. Life was good, and I had the best time with Mark and Emily. 4 years passed, and it was the day of my graduation. I was so in love with Mark that I wanted to marry him right away, even though we were so young. He agreed, and my parents suggested he move in with us. So he did. During the day, Mark would leave for college, and I would stay home. One day, I called for the maids to get me something to eat, but no one responded. I went downstairs and found no one. Then I heard a familiar voice. I was sure it was the voice of my hamster, but it seemed to be coming from the backyard. I thought I'd just take a quick look and it wouldn't hurt me. But I just popped my head out the door when suddenly someone pulled me out with all their force. Hey, miss me, sis? What are you doing here? Oh, well, they decided to let me go. I feel much better, actually. You really thought your hamster came back to life? Are you still that dumb, you spoiled daddy's girl? And then she pulled me out more, and I was under direct sunlight. It started to hurt my skin, and I screamed. Then I attacked her. One of the maids heard us and came running. When Rita saw her, she let me go and ran away. Thankfully, I wasn't hurt. And my parents told me that Rita had run away from the asylum, and they were looking for her now. I was sad for how things had turned out in my family, but my sadness was short-lived because I soon found out that I was pregnant. And 9 months later, I gave birth at home to my beautiful daughter, and I named her Sally. When Sally started to crawl, we all knew she was a really curious, naughty baby. Once, she crawled out the kitchen door and out into the backyard, and she was completely quiet. I got scared and ran after her with the maids. When I got there, I saw another basket next to her, and a freaking baby in it. It was a boy. The note next to him said, "This is John, your nephew. I gave birth to him months ago and wanted to raise him, but I discovered that was hard. So I sent him to you, Selena. Take care of him, I guess." I looked at the baby's face and tears rolled down my cheeks. I kissed his forehead. This Rita was full of surprises. When I was about to shut the door and run to my parents, someone pushed it against me. It was Rita. "Oh, you're crying." And she pulled me into the backyard again. Thankfully, the maids were able to catch her and call the police. Rita was sent to jail this time, and I got a restraining order. Me and my family were finally safe. And baby John? Yeah, he was hers, and he lived with us. I raised him like mine. And now I have 4 kids, and we are a happy family.